Good morning, students. Today I'm going to introduce a paper C programming, which is very important for the course BSc Computer Science, BCA, MSc Computer Science, MCA, under Guwahati University and all other universities. So uh, in this series of video uh, tutorial class, so I'm going to present one by one topic of C programming, some basic concept which is given one by one in my tutorial class. So first, today I'm going to give some basic concept how C programming comes, what is C, what is the history of C. So if we see overview of C programming, as we know, C is a general purpose high level procedural programming language which was originally developed by Dennis Amritzi to develop the Unix operating system at Bell Labs. So C was originally first implemented on the DCPDP-11 computers in 1972. So in 1978, Brian Cunningham and Dennis Ritchie produced the first publicly available description of C, now known as CAN standard. So the Unix operating system, the C compiler, and the essential all Unix application program have been written in C. As you all know, C has now become widely used professional language for various reasons because C is very easy to learn. It is structured language. C produces efficient programs and it can handle low level activities. It can compile on variety of computer platforms. So now if we see some fact about C, so C was invented to write an operating system called Unix. So Unix operating system is basically written in C. So C is a successor of B language which was introduced around early 1970s. The language was formalized in 1988 by American National Standard Institute ANSI. So it is also sometimes we can say ANSI C. So the Unix operating system was totally written in C. Today's C is the most widely used and popular system programming language, and most of the state-of-art software have been implemented using C. So today's most popular Linux operating system, RDMS, MySQL have been written in C, and that is why it is very important for us. Why we use C? C was initially used for the system development work, particularly a program that make up the operating system. C was adopted as a system development language because it produces codes that runs nearly as fast as code written in assembly language. So some example where C is used: operating system, language compiler, assembler, text editor, print spooler, network driver, modern programs, databases, language interpreters, utilities, etc. etc. These are nothing but application of C. So now if we see that how C program is written, where C program is written. So a C program can vary from 3 lines to millions lines. It should be written into one or more text files with extension of .c. For example, hello.c. We can use vi or vim or any other text editor to write our C program into a file. So this here we assume that we know how to edit text file and how to write C source code inside a program file. So if we see how C program is written, So we really don't need to set up our own environment to starting learning C programming language, because it is very simple. We already have set up C programming environment online. So if we see how C program is written, so this is has includes studio.h, means it is preprocessing directive where header file standard input output is included, and it is the main function. So here this is the body of the main functions, and here we write printf. This is output function which is available in studio.h header file, and this is the syntax, and every statement is ended with semicolon and return to and close the main program. And this is the simple C program. So if we see local environment setup, if we want to set up our environment for C programming language, we need following two software tools available on our computer. One is text editor and another is C compiler. So text editor, lots of different text editor will I use. For example, a few editor include Windows Notepad, OS editor, Command, Brave, Ellipson, Emacs, Vim, or VI editor. And name and version text editor can vary on different operating systems. So for example, Notepad will be on Windows, Vim and VI can be used Windows as well as Unix or Linux. So the first file, the file we create with our editors called source file, and they contain program source code. The source file for C program are typically named with the extension .c. So we will later on discuss. So now what is C compiler? We know that compiler is a system software where it translates the source high-level programming language into machine-level programming language. So the source code written in source file is human readable source for our program. It needs to be compiled into machine language so that CPU can understand and can execute the program as per instruction given. So the compiler compiles the source code into final executable programs. The most frequently used and free available compiler is GNU C or C++ compiler. Otherwise, we can have compiler either from HP or Solaris if we have respective operating system. So how we install on Unix or Linux environment? If we're using Unix or Linux, then you check whether GCC is installed on our system or not. If we use this command GCC is under P, then we have GNU compiler installed on your machines, then we should, and it should print this main informations. Otherwise, if not GCC is not installed, then we will have to install using following URLs: http GCC this, and this tutorial is based on actually Unix operating system. So now we only concentrate Unix operating system or Linux. So program structure, how we structure the C programs. So C program basically consists of following parts: preprocessor commands, functions, variables, statement and expressions, comments. For example, if we see the basic simple functions include studio.h. So in these are main is a main function, and printf, this is the statement, and return 0. Thank you. We conclude today. I conclude my class. Thank you.